feels like there's a lot of tendencies that's here that I didn't even really realize were there, to be honest.
Like, for example?
So like one of them is this obsession with like things which are labeled mine. Like even though I can't find the me when I look, like still it's there, and it's like almost hypnotic somehow. It's like
Obsession
my
with things which are the mine.
No, which are mine, like which feels like they belong to me. And it's like and it's not just things, it's also like as in physical things. It's maybe things like I don't know exactly what, but it's not just like physical things, but it's like, and I can see it's not true, but at the same time it's like somehow I'm enjoying it.
But liking the feeling of its ownership.
Yeah, and like this kind of privacy, really, this secrecy, this center point that's like me, and then of course like thoughts are always there to back that up and to say, oh yeah, no, like here's a borderline, and here's what this person is, why they're doing that, or what they're planning, and it's always like suspicion, and it's always stuff like this. And so I'm finding that it's horrible, like it's really horrible, and I want it to stop. Like as in I feel that deeply that.
Can you something that happened which manifested in this way?
Yeah, so an example might be like, say if I'm at home, if I'm cooking something, or I'm making some tea or something like that, and I just feel like I have been feeling kind of just a bit hopeless, I guess, really recently, and a bit like down or something. So that's there. And then say like when some of these guys come through quite innocently and just saying like, oh, what are you making, or like, and immediately something's like inside, and I just feel like, oh, and then
like, what, the tea is mine, don't touch it, like that?
Well, yeah, and just like
are you using tea metaphorically or seriously?
Seriously.
Okay.
Like, I feel like a 3-year-old with a bag of sweets or something. Just like, you know, or even worse, because I can see that there's no joy in this me. Even worse, I feel like a 3-year-old with a toy that takes 2 people to play, like a seesaw or something, and I'm sat on the seesaw, and obviously you can't play on the seesaw on your own. But like, just because of basically selfishness. That like no one else can sit on the other side or something like this, and it's horrible, and
it can happen sometimes.
But there's a lot of resistance to actually, like, sometimes just dropping it and being like.
Do you feel that the rest of your roommates are lazy? Because it can be like that, you know, they just laze around, don't do anything. I'm making tea and they want that also.
I don't think so, because like I've always enjoyed that. I enjoy cooking, and I enjoy being in the kitchen, and I enjoy stuff like that, and I enjoy like. I guess people, that kind of thing, and so in maybe like say over the past like 3 years or something like that, I would say like as a character or something, it's been the complete opposite. I've always just shared whatever I've had and stuff like that, and that's why it's kind of painful and it's come as a shock, because suddenly it's here where I just feel like I don't want to share anything, and I'm super looking and checking my things to make sure, like, is it still, and then like, but it's, of course, it's always one way, like, it's always like what the mind is presenting is only for me and not for anybody else, and it's been going on for a while, and I don't know why I've not exposed it. I guess because it's felt so stupid. But at the same time, like, I'm looking at it now, and I have to admit that it feels very real when it happens.
Yeah.
And it's only afterwards when I kind of go like, oh my god, what was that about? And there's definitely less resistance now to go in and just apologise, go in and just say, oh, here you go, have this, or something like that. But it's like I can see that I can't just blame the mind and say, oh, it's the mind and it's this, because actually something is really like going with it. And if of course if I wasn't enjoying it on some level, I wouldn't be doing it. And so I just really want to ask for your help, because it feels like in doing that I'm pushing people away.
Yes. So first thing to do with all of these, to not, the first one is getting you anyway. The guilt one, you see, I'm being a bad person, I'm being so selfish, all of this forget about. So because that is not helpful in getting rid of the first one, it's actually energizing it. The mind is celebrating, yes, 1-2 combo, good. So just see that we can say that, yes, I was making tea and Hari came into the kitchen and I felt possessive over my tea, and I said, I'm just going to have this right now, please, if you don't mind, or something. It just happened like that, you see. And when you watch it like that, you see that it just, in that moment, something played out in this way. You see? So you bought yourself to be the owner of the tea. Now at least don't buy the one that is guilty of being selfish. You see? So make that lighter first. And now that you've exposed it also, it becomes easier. You see? Because then they know that, oh, glad for you, so they're not resenting you about it. So it is allowed. Second is that, you see, these things, they survive stronger in sunlight. You see? So it is said that sunshine is the best disinfectant. In the same way, now that you've exposed it, and you said this is what is happening here, you exposed not only your own light on it, but in the light of satsang, you will find that as you brought your looking into this, you will find that in itself it will get lighter and lighter. You see, if you're not falling for that guilt or selfishness or regret ideas, you see, there's something just shines on this independent. What is it that wants to hold on to other things? What is it? Where is it coming from? Is there a sense of lack, or is there a sense of being made up of my possessions, or what is it? The light will shine brighter on these inquiries, these questions, and it will not become stronger. It will get lighter and lighter. You see? So, firstly, don't be guilty. Don't regret. Don't say, "Oh, I'm so selfish." Don't put any labels to yourself because this has happened. You see, then all this muck is at least kept aside. Then it becomes just like this. So when the moment comes that again, you were making a chocolate cake or something and you wanted the whole thing for yourself, you see, and somebody comes in and is looking at it, you see? Then as that happened, and you're not falling into the trap of guilt and all of that, you're just looking. So what happened there? Was it a sense of need that I have? Was it a sense of not wanting to be exploited? Do I feel a sense of lack if my possessions are taken away? What is it that I'm most scared to lose?
It's like so something that's definitely there is this like exploitation, I guess. But it's more that somebody is
you can say it, it's okay. You can say it, yes?
Somebody
got freeloading?
Satsang friendly too.
Somebody's
like
freeloading?
Do you know what taking the mickey means?
Taking the mickey, I felt it just meant like making a fool of you.
No, it's kind of like being taken advantage
advantage.
of, and being that somebody's just basically bouncing around on their own rhythm and not being like respectful or considerate. And so it feels like
being around Sangha members.
And so then this defensiveness comes, and that's what it is. And so then what's been like the tendency recently has been just to want to just retreat, so just to like go in my room and shut the door. But I can see that that's not going to solve anything.
And when we look and see who is it that can be taken advantage of?
Exactly.
There's nobody.
There's nobody. There's nothing.
So,
but what happens is that when it happens, it's like this sense of a constriction's there, and then the voice starts, and it's just going like it's knows every button, and it's just going like bing, 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 bing. And it's just basically and this, and remember that, and such and such and such, and it's like it's hypnotic in a way, and I go into it, and I believe it somehow, and then. Or even when somehow I can see, like, hang on a minute, and is that really the case? But still something's kind of like still got its claws in, and it feels like that thing is me. Like I feel like I have to take some responsibility for it, because I do feel like I am enjoying it on some level. Some kind of weird.
Who is enjoying? Who is taking responsibility? See, these are very subtle things that the mind can sell us. And that is also the two punch of the two combo. So it can be either pride or guilt.
Maybe what I mean is like this, sometimes that Advaita one that will go like, oh no, it's not me, and so therefore I don't even have to look at it, or some, like that kind of insincerity, like
the fake niceness.
I can't run with that anymore. Like that's not going to do anything. That's useless. So now I'm looking like more kind of and there is a helplessness, like there's and look.
So the interaction that happens when you're in the process of making your tea is not what we are trying to fix here, because that can flow still. You could be a sage and you can tell somebody, don't look at my tea, okay? Or you can just very clear like that. You see, you can buy stuff alone. You see, it can flow like that. But what we're really looking at is first the byproducts of all of this side play that this is happening with you. That maybe yes, I want to be like that. I'm enjoying that play, or the guilt play, or the selfish one. Look at all of that, and to see whether at the root of this manifesting there's a sense of need or lack or victimization or exploitation, which is all just mental, you see. So once all that is thrown away, or most of that is thrown away, then it doesn't matter.
There's definitely, like, in the bigger picture, there is something like okay life, and it's like a kind of okay, but also, like, I don't have a job, and I don't, I've obviously got Gracie in England who's missing me a lot, and I am just kind of feeling a little bit like, ooh, what's like, and almost as though it feels sometimes like all of that sense of like responsibility for this life and all of that sense of like how things should be has been taken away. And long time, I guess, and I think something's scared. I do sometimes feel like.
And responsibility was believed you did a very good job.
No, I mean, I wasn't happy at all.
So, because the mind tells you these stories and gives you only part of the stories.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you might be happy now, but
completely irresponsible now. Now, what about, you see, these things? And then when I had all of those things, was I behaving much better? Then you see that The mind can sell us all of these stories, but the question, who am I, cannot really fall for any of these traps, you see. And as our direct seeing, as our satsang is meeting the rest of our life also, there's bound to be some friction, something where it seems like the rubber is hitting the road, you see. There can be, but you'll find that it becomes more and more natural. And here, of course, you know that we don't have any rules. I'm not saying you have to, always just be here or something. Time to go meet your daughter. You'll find yourself booking the ticket. You'll find yourself coming back. Oh, it's allowed very organically. So no buying tickets to any merry-go-round. Because basically why? Because at the root of it, that if I just leave everything to God, you see, he's going to he's going to make a big mess out of it. Two, I'm now a very terrible, irresponsible, lazy person. You see, so all of these sticky things come with our sense of doership. And as we let go, then you find that without this burden of doership, it is not that doing stops. It is the being responsible, irresponsible, what are others thinking of me, am I being this way or that way, that drops away more and more. And you know that this consciousness which is being allowed to run our life has always been the one that has been running our life. Without the sense of, with a lot less sense of pride and guilt. So it's an intertwining of various things. You see? The sense of something can be taken away from me, or I have to hold on something, otherwise it goes away from me. This kind of sense. Then the sense of how am I behaving? Am I being selfish or responsible or irresponsible? Then there can be a sense of yes, but I'm justified. You see? I'm feeling like some power when I'm you see, blocking others from touching my stuff. You see? That we can look at all of these, which doesn't mean that our actions at the end of it, and especially when you say that it seemed like a deeply hypnotic state, so we cannot do anything there. But at least now coming to satsang, we see that when the hypnotism doesn't seem as strong, then we can see what are the concepts I'm picking up and lighten those. As we lighten those, then even the hypnosis will seem lighter and lighter and lighter. Is like that. That's why we've been focusing so much on that, because I can say that for all of you, you had very direct recognition about who you are, isn't it? It's like when we speak about awareness and consciousness, as if we are speaking about some mental concept. It is directly verifiable, isn't it? Now, all of this prior conditioning will come to play, sometimes in a bigger way also, as this recognition is happening. So allow it to also come and go. And what you did now is very useful also to be able to expose it. Because it's not easy, because your roommate's also here and you come and say.
And I'm really sorry, I feel like my attention just keeps like diving off into imagination, and I'm
okay.
Yeah, like I just feel like I'm not fully with you.
It'll become lighter and lighter. So, and the good thing is we record all of this anyway. So. So there is no escape.
Is it?
We should actually do that. We had discussed once. Zia had come up with an idea that anyone who comes up with a question then has to go back and transcribe the interaction. At least in that way, we ensure that the sitting here, you feel like you'll just get some snippets of what I'm saying, and it might seem like I'm saying ABC. You see, actually, I might be saying just the opposite. So that might be a good thing, especially for those who've been in satsang for some time. You can say, okay, if you have a question, now have a real question, and let it be real enough that you're willing to put some effort to transcribe the answer also. That's good. Then you'll find that you see, and you know also that you have to transcribe this later, maybe some more attention will stay. One of the biggest things that pulls our attention away is, okay, how am I going to respond? Or what am I going to say next? And that play also will become lighter because you'll see that just the words will come. You don't have to work towards what you're going to say next. The exchange will become a lot more spontaneous. This is very good. And that's why I've been saying that the recognition is very vital, very important, but with the help of the pointings which are being shared here, I feel that all of you are coming to that recognition. But that doesn't mean that the recognition itself is liberation, you see. Also, the allowing of all of this conditioning to come out, to be released, to not give value to these things, not to give, especially to our guilt about these things. That is very important also. And there is no 100% end to conditioning. Because jokingly, I used to say 99.986% is enough. And like you said, many things that we forget, we don't, like when you switched off or made that fan slower, then I realized how much noise it was making. So things are coming up now which, because your sensitivity is increasing, you're finding. Otherwise, very quickly we go into our justifications and I say, yes, I was completely justified in doing what I did and things like this. Here we are at least starting to look. And very, very importantly, you said something very good, which is we drop our fake spiritual personas also. Because sometimes we can play like we're in satsang, so I have to be nice. So all that dropping also is very authentic. You see? So we don't have to purposely or forcefully make ourselves share or forcefully make ourselves love others. It's not like that. It's much more natural. And I don't feel to share right now. Sometimes satsang can be for them also. A lot of things, I'm sure it's not in any interaction, it always gives both sides something to look at, isn't it? So it is some satsang for your roommates also.